Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI tutorial by Team Slidescope. As you can see, we have created a simple dashboard here where we are trying to analyze different factors relating online course enrollment data. This is part 3.1 of this series. In first part, we created a simple dashboard. In second part, with average quiz score as target field, then we used engagement index as target field. Now on different students request, we have created this dashboard where we have now created many DAX measures and in fact some calculated tables also using DAX. So this is a beginner level tutorial where you will understand how to create these different DAX measures like at risk percentage, average assignment score, average quiz score, course completion rate, where we'll use divide function, calculate function, we will use filter function, we will learn how to use concatenate function, round function, and you can see using measure inside divide function, using measure inside uh, calculate function, max function, max x function, its difference, top n function. So at least 10 to 15 different functions you will learn their practical usage on this data set. So these are basic questions, and in next part 3.2, we will cover some advanced questions. So let's start with these basic questions. All these questions and their solutions are given here along with dataset link. Let's get started. So as you saw in the dashboard, there are 10 practical Power BI DAX questions with solutions, and this is basic level that or beginner friendly level that we are discussing now. In next part, we will have more advanced questions. So that will be part 4. So dataset description is given here. From here you can download the dataset, and next we will start with some basic questions, and here is part 1 where we used average quiz score as our target field, and then in part 2 we used engagement index as our target field and tried to solve some questions there. Now we will again make a duplicate of this, and here we will rename as DAX basic, like we are going with some basic DAX questions here, and online course engagement analysis, and let me rephrase the name. So this is part 3.1. Earlier I decided I will have 3 parts only now. So let's start with basic question. First question obviously that we have mentioned here is, what is average quiz score? So in the data set, and obviously you can go and watch all parts, but I will try to explain it here itself so that you don't have to, like, obviously if you are just watching this one, so you can understand. Here we have student IDs. They have watched our course videos for this much minute or these many minutes, and we gave them 10 quizzes, and this is their average quiz score. So here it is written as quiz score, but this quiz score is out of 10 quizzes. Their assignments completed, their login frequency, like how many times have they logged in, their time is spent, course category, learning mode, their country, completion status, and this is a calculated column where we have grouped these quiz scores in 4 or 5 different bins. Now we will take this quiz score and find its average that we already did. So here you will right click here, create a new measure, and we will call it average quiz score. For average quiz score, formula that we'll use is simple average formula, and here you will select a column. In Power BI, whenever you are selecting a column, like suppose if I try to just write column name average quiz score, so then also you can see it will give me the same answer, average quiz score. because now I have actually used it in this visual. So this is a card visual where we have used this. So if you will drag it here, you will be able to see. But most of the times we will have multiple tables. So in that case, we may have a problem. So that's why it is always better to use table name, and then in a square bracket we can use this column name. One more thing is this square bracket is needed because sometimes column names may have spaces in it. So like to enclose that, we will use this. So here I am using a simple notepad where you can see the formula. And most of the times you will use table names in uh, single quotes. So this is how you will write. This is a table name. This is your column name. And inside the formula, it will mention whether it needs a table name or a column name, or whatever it needs, it will specify there. So this is our first question, and that's what we have solved. What is average quiz score? Now we will use this measure in other measures also, or other calculated expressions also. Now second question is, what is the course completion rate? This is also something that we found, but we are again revising it. Course completion is rate. How will we conceptualize this? So here it is 49.17%. So when we suppose some n number of students enrolled, and out of those n number of students, we have their completion status. So only some of them completed. So here only let's do this without applying a formula first in our minds to understand concept. If you will see here you will see that there are 240 rows in total. But if you select only for completed, there are 118 filtered rows. That means 118 students out of total 240 completed the course. So simple formula for that will be 118 divided by 240, and if percentage is required, so we will multiply it by 100. So this way we will be able to calculate. Now we have to dynamically put them. So in Power BI, if we use a function called count rows, this count rows function can find out how many rows are there. So if we use count rows course, this means total rows or total number of rows in course table, our main table. So which is 240. Okay. Then we can again count rows but with a filter. To apply an expression with a filter, we have calculate function. And remember, like, this is one of the most important, and we use it a lot. This function calculate is very important. So formula of calculate is, you will write expression comma filter 1 comma filter 2, etc. And how will you write filter? So in filter you will write that in our course table, in our status column, completion status column, its value should be equal to, or we can write double quotes also, its value should be equal to completed. So this is our filter. And what is our expression? This. So this is our expression. So that's what we have written here. If you will go to course completion rate, so this is calculate count rows completion rate. So this will become numerator. count rows course will become denominator, and then we'll use divide formula. Inside divide you need numerator and denominator. Now suppose we are applying some filter and somehow count rows course comes to 0. So if you divide anything by 0, you may get an infinity error. So that's why there is this third alternate result that we write, which is to avoid divided by 0 error. So this is how you will do that. So in bigger font, here is the formula. Now course completion rate, divide, calculate count rows where this is completed, divided by this, and you can write it like this. Another way of writing will be, we can use this and then forward slash and count rows course. This will also give the same result, but here if some filter is applied and this particular value comes to 0, you may get a blank error. So that's why we do this. And then after calculating this, you will go to measure tools. So here is an important thing. This is our main view. This is table view. In table view, if you will select a column which is already there, you will see column tools. If you will select a measure, you will see measure tools and you will see table tools. When measure tools, what is the format of this measure is written? Its format is in percentage. So you will just select this. If you will not select this, values will not appear in percentage. If you select this, values will appear as percentage. So that is this second value. Okay. Now we will go to our next question. What is total video watch time? As I said, these are very basic level questions requested by some students. So what is total video watch time? And when a word like total is written, so the formula that we will use is sum. Okay. So here, to create or calculate total video watch time, like here we have average video watch time. So video watch time column is given, and this is a card visual that we used in first part. We will drag it here, and this is actually total video watch time, 143k minutes. So we can get it without using DAX, or we can create a simple measure. That's what we are doing. And in this measure we can write total video watch time, and here we will use sum formula. So it will select the entire column and sum all the values in this column and give a single aggregate answer and save it in this field name or measure name, and that is what we have. So we will have this measure, check, commit, and now we have total video watch time, same value, but at least now we have the value. So this is total video watch time, another basic DAX. Another is what is average login frequency per student. So every student is logging in, so they have login frequency. So average login frequency will be simple. You just drag it here and you select average. So on an average, a student has logged in 25 times. So that is their login frequency. And this is again a very simple question, but here we are just explaining what we have done so far. Now question number 5 is, what percentage of students are highly engaged? Okay, highly engaged students. So here you can see we created a calculated column called engagement index. This engagement index was calculated by finding out average of three fields, which was what is average, what is watch time, login frequency, and assignments completed. So if you want to see if students are engaged in your courses, yes or no, so we can create something like engagement index whenever we get edtech related data sets. So here we found this engagement index, and here in this engagement index we divided average video watch time by maximum value of watch time, again average login frequency by maximum value of login frequency, and average course assignment by maximum number of course completed. This way we will make sure, or we were making sure, that the value is always less than 1, because watch time in minutes is around 700 800 mark. Its scale is different. Login frequency is between 0 to 100, and assignment completed is between 0 to 10. So that's why, to bring them all in same scale, we did this, and then we found their average. So their average was coming as 56.44%. Like, we can say 56.44% is engagement of these students in these courses, like, which is slightly above, halfway mark. And we also explained meaning of it here. So I have already provided this link, meaning of each term, what is engagement index, and important limitations, why we applied this formula. And if we found 0.80 to 1.0 students would have been highly engaged, but in our case students are moderately engaged. So business can look at reasons why students are moderately engaged and not highly engaged. Maybe type of course they are providing is not interactive enough, so, or they can provide some more quizzes and all. So that's where you can take decisions. So that's what we found. Now this engagement index was selected as a percentage. So we went to again measure tools and selected it as a percentage. Okay, but actually it is a fraction. So here it is a fraction, and if we select this engagement index and we go to measure tools, engagement index normalized will be a fraction. So here obviously if we drag it once again, you will see it's a fraction. Now they are asking a question that high engagement, like if there are any students or percentage of students who are highly engaged. So obviously we want to find, we don't know what is maximum value of engagement. So because it's a single number that is coming, but for different cases it may be different. So you can see when we created this chart, so this chart was a simple clustered column chart where we put completion status on x-axis and engagement index on y-axis. Let me do that once again. And here you can see some students actually have engagement index of 0.74, some of them have 0.50, some of them have 0.26. So low engagement, mid-level engagement, and high engagement. So if formula is asking how many students are there, what percentage of students are there with high engagement index, that's what they're asking simply. So here what you can do is, like here also we can apply this kind of formula, that engagement index is all, we can say is less than or more than, but here we have already applied some visuals. So we will calculate this formula, and now here also a simple calculation will be used. So we'll create new measure, high engagement percentage. Here we are calculating count of student ID. Now this is again a way of finding total number of rows. So student ID is a unique value. Student ID is unique for each student. So if we count how many distinct or how many student IDs do we have, that is also equal to 240 in our case, or total number of rows. And we are calculating this, but we are applying a simple formula that course engagement index normalized, like this is the name of this measure, is equal to greater than equal to 0.75, like number of students who are above 75% mark engagement index. And then we are dividing it by again count of same, like that's what we did earlier, right? We divide total number of students by total number of students who have this by this filter applied, and divided by total number of students. So if we do that, let's select and do that. We are actually, let me check what why we are getting this error. And a simple mistake that we made was, may not be simple, but here actually this is a measure and not a column. So engagement index normalized is the column, is not a column. So we have to use filter function here. So its change will be this. So in that, if you are getting this a function placeholder error that is used as a table filter expression, then you have to use filter function, because in filter function also we can put a table and then filter expression. So table is scores and our filter expression is this. So if we are using a measure inside a calculate function as a filter, then we have to use filter function. If we are using a column that we did earlier, then we can use it directly. So like in this case where we were using, so in this case, because completion status was a column, so we can use that as a filter. But here we are using a measure, so then you have to use filter. And once you will do that, you will be able to see high engagement percentage. So let's use another measure, like this is course completion with this, and here we can use this, and let's close high engagement percentage, which is 0.24. And as I said, if you again want to use it as a percentage, you can click on it and change it to percentage. So now 23.75% of students have high engagement index as per the formulas that we applied. And if suppose we have calculated this measure, now we can actually use this measure in different cases. For example, engagement index normalized was used. We can also see high engagement percentage. And you can see in case of high engagement percentage, uh, there were actually three status, but in our case, only two status are there, completed in progress, because high engagement will be there in these two cases only, and not that which we already have here. Like you can see, we have dropped also, and obviously people who have dropped have low engagement, so they are automatically filtered from here. Now this becomes high engagement percentage by completion status. Next is next question is, what is average time is spent per session? Again, a basic question. Average time is spent you can find out easily, and you can use it on any other measure. So let's say here we use engagement index. Here we want to use average time spent. So we can simply drop time spent per session. We are getting some, but we can select average here. So you can see on an average, people from Australia have spent around 58.33 minutes per session, and it shows as percentage of first as 100. This is default nature of funnel chart. It considers first value as 100% and then last value as obviously here it will show last value where it will show how much percentage of previous it is and how much percentage of first it is. So this is what we can see here. Here earlier we applied conditional formatting to colors. So here value was based on engagement index. Now we have high engagement percent or average time duration. So we will select that. So time is spent per session. And instead of sum, we will select its average value because that's how we are calculating. And when we will apply, now this conditional formatting will be on the basis of this color will be on the basis of average of time spent. We can also select other color. For example, for lower value, we will select this color, and for higher value, let's select this color. So now you will have our data like this. So whatever you select, you can whatever color scheme you want to select, you can select like that. So here we have mostly what we do is we try to go from red, blue, green diverging. So we can add a middle color also. Values falling in middle range will be displayed with a blue color or a dark blue color. So it will be red, blue, green diverging kind of color. So you can choose these different colors. Next question that we have is which learning mode has the highest average score? Now this is an important type of question. So first of all, let's see learning modes. So we have this learning mode. We have three learning modes. One is blended, one is live, and one is self-paced. Here we are not seeing what is meaning of these colors, which was our mistake earlier. So you can go and enable legend. When you will enable legend, then you will be able to see meaning of these colors, and we can select one color. Let's say we want to see this color. Now question asks whether blended or online whatever method is there, which has highest average quiz score. So in such cases, we will use max x function. Okay, top learning mode by quiz. So this max x function, what it does is it evaluates the expression row wise and then finds the maximum value. Okay, so here we are using max x function and where we are using values function, and this values function will select a column course learning mode, and let's see their meaning also because it will replace any filter that is applied. So this is maxx function. Maxx function returns the highest or largest numerical value or largest string value that results from evaluating an expression for each row. So it will check first row, calculate average quiz score, second row quiz score, third row quiz score, and when everything is evaluated, which row has highest value, it will print its value. And what value it will print? Name of learning mode. Here inside we use values function. When a column name is given, it returns a single column table of unique values. So learning mode is basically, learning modes are three. So it will return a single column table with these three values: blended, live, and self-paced. And then we will calculate their average quiz score. What is average quiz score in learning mode? What is average quiz score in blended mode? That's something that we did in first part. So when this is created, we will be able to see this answer. So because here these DAX measures are important, so we can use this form. We can copy this and let's find maximum value. So where we created top learning mode by quizzes. So we can drag it here, and top learning mode by quizzes score, you can see it is showing us 76.85. This will be top learning, but this is showing us a value, like this is showing us a maximum value. So if you want to see that value, so obviously value name is required, like we want whether it's blended, live or self-paced. So we have done first part, they have got value because max x, this that's what max x function will do. So this one will act, this is actually top average quiz score. Okay, this is top average quiz score by mode, we can say by mode. So top average quiz score by mode is 76.85. Now it's time to find out the name of that measure, like name of that value. So to find the name, we have to use some different expressions. So first we will calculate a table, or we will create a calculated table. So we are using mode table. In this mode table, we are adding columns. So first column is table name. Obviously, first you have to select table name, where we are selecting values. And if you remember, I just told you that this values function, inside a values function, if a column is selected, so whatever unique values are there inside that column, it will create a single column table of those values. So that's what we have done. And then we are using their average table, average score. And for that average score, we are calculating their average quiz score. So this will be a calculated table. I will show you how to create this calculated table also. So I will right click, and now actually I will go to modeling tab and go to create a new table. Here let's call it learning mode average quiz score table. I am just giving a long name so that we can understand. And once this table is created, you will be able to see what this table shows. That for self-paced it is 74.08. For live it is 75.55. For blended it is 76.84. And what this measure was doing, it was showing 76.84, this value, approximately 76.85. So when you use max x function, you will be able to see that maximum value. But another simple way is create a table. And now once this table is created, then from this table you have to apply a simple formula, that which learning mode name has this highest score. So we already have the highest score inside a measure, right? And you just learned that how to use measures inside function, uh, measures inside a calculate function. So that's what we are doing here, and that's what it is done. So first we created this table. Now this table will be saved here in this variable, or you can use this name also. Then we are using top mode, another variable which top mode, which will pick the name. So we are using top n function. What top n function does is it picks top value. Okay, it picks first value, second value, or n number of values. So top n function returns a given number of top rows according to a specified expression. So we are picking first row from mode table by when we are arranging it in a descending order of average score. So if you arrange this table in sort descending, which value is in top, blended. So that's what we are picking here. Okay, we are picking top one value, and that entire row is in top mode, and then from that top mode we are returning concatenate x. So what this concatenate x does, it needs a table name, top mode, then an expression. So we are picking learning mode name, and we are writing comma here. So, and then delimiter we are using is comma. So this is one way of picking that. Let's try first, because let's see what name it shows. So otherwise I have another way of finding that. So when I will use this function, so I will just remove it, and this is top learning mode. Sorry, what I have done. So I will just remove this top learning mode by quiz, and here you can see blended. So now we are getting this answer. So earlier I created an IPL cricket analysis where we have many questions like which, or if, because most of you might not know IPL if you are watching from outside of India. So let's talk in soccer terms or football terms, that suppose if a question is asked which footballer has the highest number of goals in, let's say, World Cups. So then you have to apply this kind of formula. You have to arrange them in descending order and pick top one, and then from that table you have to pick name. Learning mode average quiz score is our table. So if we simply use this thing like concatenate x, we already have this table name. So if we only use this much and here just replace top mode with this name, then also we can get this answer. So here you have all the solutions and you can get these answers. And at the same time I have added it here. So now next question 8 is what is dropout rate percentage. So dropout rate can be calculated by, again, as we found in beginning, as we found completion rate, like what is course completion rate. So dropout rate can be found with the same formula, but in this case we will be using course completion status is equal to dropped. Earlier I showed you how to use count rows, but this is another way of using count rows. You count distinct number of student IDs. So this is something same as part 1, same as question 1 that we solved, and our course completion rate that we solved. So we can find dropout rate. So dropout rate will be this, and we can use another measure here where we can use dropout rate. So here we will be showing dropout rate, and it will not be like if completion rate is 49%, dropout rate will be 51%, because we have three such values. So it is 23%. And again we can go, or what if we don't want to change it here? What if we want to show it as a percentage? So whatever value we are getting here, if we put everything in a bracket and we just multiply it by 100, then also we can show it as a percentage, but this percentage sign will not appear. So then you have to use concatenate. So in concatenate you select first text and second text. So our first text will be this entire thing, and second text will be a percentage sign, and we close the bracket, and let me see what mistake I am making. Okay, so concatenate, no problem. I will just make sure we are putting equal number of brackets here. So this is concatenate. So here, by checking, here is the final answer. So concatenate starting here, ending here, and then inside concatenate text 1, this one, text 2, this one. So this way also you can do, but you can understand that that was a lot more easier way, that you just find this and automatically format it as a percentage. So here you can see now you have to do round because it is showing n number of decimals. So here in value you can say decimal places 1 or 2 which it is not accepting, you can select this. So that's why what we do is we select only a better way, that is that. But if you still have to apply round, so we will do like this, because we are just learning things. So here first is number, this entire thing will be our number, and then comma, let's say 2. So we use 2 decimal places. So this this is something that we are still getting. So let me check brackets once again, and again by properly positioning brackets and all, you can see. So round, and inside round we are using 2 decimal places, so 22.92%. The same way, but again these type of calculations will help us in understanding DAX in a better way. So this is showing dropout rate. So now moving further, we have more questions. So like question number 9, what is the average assignments completed by course category? So like obviously here we are just seeing average assignments. So if, but if a simple answer is by course category, then we can use this inside a measure. So you can use this bar chart with course category. So first we will calculate average assignments completed. So we will just right click here, new measure, and find out average assignments completed. So we have this, and then we have course category here. So here we will just replace these two. The average assignments completed will come on values, and course category will come as legend. So we have different course categories. So this will be average assignment by completed by course category, where you can see that in cyber security we have highest number of assignments completed. On an average, out of 10 students have completed 7.56, and it is lowest in case of data science. So that's what you can check here. And next question is, what is the correlation between engagement and quiz performance? So it's a proxy KPI. So since Power BI has no correlation, we can use this performance by proxy KPI. So we can use engagement versus quiz performance. We will divide average course quiz score divided by the engagement index that we have. So this can give us engagement versus quiz performance. So we will simply find this measure, and here because it's not a column, so we can simply use it like this. So it's not a column, engagement index normalized. So because it's not a column and we still have to use it inside a measure, so what will be the better way of doing that? So, and because it's already an average, so we can use it directly. We can use these measure names directly, and then this is engagement versus quiz performance, which we can again use as a KPI here. in first part when we created this, so first we will use this, and this is we have used divide. So here is that engagement versus quiz performance. This is 133.7, and this gives us engagement versus quiz performance. Like, now we have to understand what will we mean by this. This is a high value, that means we have better engagement as compared to quiz performance. And you can already see engagement index by assignments completed. So we can also do this like engagement versus quiz performance like this. So for example, we can select engagement index on y-axis, and on x-axis we can select average quiz score, so or quiz score. So we have the quiz score here, and that's why we created quiz score bins, so that you can see here engagement index by quiz score. So which shows that when quiz score is increasing, engagement index is also, and how engagement index is there. So you will be able to see like engagement index is 0.84 when students are getting high quiz scores. So this is something that you can get. And we have one more bonus KPI, which students are at risk. So in this case, idea is to understand how to apply multiple conditions. Till now we have applied only one condition. So here you can see students with engagement index less than zero point 0.5 and quiz score less than 50%. So we are using divide function where we are calculating total number of students. First filter is this. If you remember the formula, we can apply multiple filters, and second filter is this. So then we can count total number of course IDs. So this will find out at risk percentage. Again here obviously we have written it as a column, but we will change that. So this is at risk percentage, and then if you apply this, you can see the same error. So we have to use filter once again, or let's try like this. So here we will use filter function. In filter function, what we have to do is we have to select table name. So table name in our case will be obviously course table, and then filter expression. This will be our filter expression. So here we will end this, and calculate is ending here, divide is ending here. Let's try now. So this is at risk percentage, and we can, instead of engagement index by quiz score bins, we can now use at risk percentage. So you can see live and self-paced learning mode. This is coming as 1.0, but let's find out what this value is coming first. So I will just use it instead of this. So at risk percentage. So you can see it is coming as 0.03, and if we actually use it as a percentage, so we will be able to see that 2.92% at risk. And by learning mode at risk, we can see in case of self-paced 4.88, and here it is 2.75. So you will be able to see, and again we have to enable legend here to see what this means. So this is how we can calculate that. So here you learned how to apply or use measures inside calculate function as a filter. You learn these simple DAX functions, calculated tables. You can try this example 3.1, and we had some basic questions covered. Later you will see we will have more advanced questions for DAX that will be solved using multiple expressions. So in part 3.2 we will do that. Till then, keep learning, keep asking questions in comment section. Obviously we try our best to bring educational content to you. If you have any suggestions so that we can improve our mode of delivery, so we'll be happy to hear that from your end as well. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next part.